Do cocktails after.
John, are you? Good.
Yeah, I'm ready whenever John's ready.
Okay, Jamie, you're good. All right, we'll call the Common Council meeting of Tuesday, April 15th to order. Roll call, please.
John Kidd.
Here.
Amy Johnson.
Here.
Casey Boer.
Here.
Wayne Schmidt.
Here.
Midge Swedberg. Here. Scott Meverden.
Here.
John Ortlieb.
Here.
Kevin Schmidt.
Here.
Thank you. Confirm the meeting in compliance with open meetings law, please.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. I would look for a motion to approve or make changes to the order of the agenda.
So move, Mr. Mayor. Second.
Moved by Kevin and seconded by John. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. New business. Looking for a motion for the acceptance of the certification of Board of Canvassers for the spring 2025 general election.
So moved.
One moment.
Oh, sorry.
So here is the certification of the Board of Canvassers, just so everyone can see, it's been signed off. All the election results are behind that if anybody wants to take a look at it. But if you could pass it all the way down to Alderman Kevin Schmidt, and then Alder Schmidt, when you're done, if you could just place it on the table next to you.
I have a motion by Casey to accept,
I'll second.
second by Amy. Roll call, please.
Ortlieb,
Yes.
Kevin Schmidt,
Yes.
Swedberg,
Yes.
Boer,
Yes.
Kidd,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Wayne Schmidt,
Yes.
Meverden.
Yes.
And item B is the swearing in of the alderpersons.
All right, so Alder Wayne Schmidt was sworn in earlier today and took his official oath. So at this time, if I could have John Ortlieb, Margaret Swedberg, Midge Swedberg, and Dawn Kidd please rise and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I'm gonna get to a part where I'm gonna say I, and then you'll state your name, but just so we're all aware, it's John Ortlieb, Margaret Swedberg, and John Kidd. I,
John Ortlieb,
having been elected or appointed
been elected or appointed
to the office of Alder,
to the office of Alder,
but have not yet
but have not yet
entered upon the duties
entered upon the duties
thereof swear
thereof swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of said office
the duties of said office
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my abilities.
so help me God.
So help me God.
All right, you're officially sworn in after you guys place your signature on the official oaths in front of you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Item C, we will be looking for the election of the council president, who at current is Casey Moore.
Very good.
The election of council president, I'm looking for nominations.
Yes.
I would,
I'll nominate Casey Boer.
I'll second.
Are there any other nominations? I have to have Three requests.
Three yes.
I would,
Is it three what?
I have to ask 3 times, Kevin. So are there any other nominations? And a third time, I have a nomination for Casey Boer. And a second by Scott, nomination by John. No, by Amy, sorry. Wow.
Well, I am the.
And then a roll call for that here, please.
Dawn Kidd,
Yes.
John Ortlieb,
yes.
Casey Boer,
Yes.
Amy Johnson,
Yes.
Wayne Schmidt,
Yes.
Midge Swedberg,
Yes.
Scott Meverden,
Yes.
Kevin Schmidt.
Yes.
Thank you. And now we would be looking for a council member for the planning commission. At current it is Amy Johnson. So I'm looking for nominations for a council member to planning.
Nominate Amy. Second.
Are there any other nominations? Third time? Hearing none. Amy has been nominated by Casey, second by Kevin, and a roll call for that.
John Ortlieb,
Yes.
Casey Boer,
Yes.
Midge Swedberg,
Yes.
Scott Meverden,
Yes.
Kevin Schmidt,
Yes.
Wayne Schmidt,
Yes.
Dawn Kidd,
Yes.
Amy Johnson.
Yes.
Thank you. E would be the appointment of the city attorney. Currently it is Blaskowitz, and Downey, and staff recommendation that it would be Blaskowitz, and Downey again.
So moved.
Moved by Kevin, second by John. All in favor?
One moment.
Just to state to the whole council, their fees have been stagnant for quite some time. Jim Downey has reached out to let me know that they do our work for the PD for like citations in the city. That fee is gonna be going to $150 for the police department work and $200 for all city council work.
What is it now?
I think it's $100 across the board currently today.
We negotiate any better on
We're still very, very cheap.
it? I don't know about very cheap. It's
We're-
not
we're very cheap.
overly expensive. No, it's,
While our other attorney, I think we pay around $500 an hour.
well, he must be a specialist.
Yeah,
It's your recommendation, we'll keep it the same.
that we pay these fees and keep it who we currently work with.
Is there?
Any other, I lost my track.
Motion by Kevin Schmidt and second by John Ortlieb to retain Blaskovic, and Downey as the city attorney.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor of that?
Aye.
I'm gonna.
And an abstention from Amy. Opposed? And one abstained. Did you catch that, Karen?
Yep, Amy Johnson abstained.
Thank you. F would be the appointment of the official newspaper. Currently it is Green Bay Press Gazette, and staff recommendation to continue that.
Motion to approve, staying with Press Gazette. Second.
By Scott and second by Casey. Discussion on that? And if not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? G would be the appointment of the municipal depositories. Currently, we have Bank of Luxembourg, Nicolay Bank, and American Deposit Management, and staff recommendation to retain that.
I'll move approval of the appointment of our municipal depositories.
I'll second.
By Amy and second by John. Discussion? Hearing none, looks like we need a roll call for that.
Boer,
Yes.
Swedberg,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Kevin Schmidt,
Yes.
Kidd,
Yes.
Meverden,
Yes.
Wayne Schmidt,
Yes.
Ortlieb.
Yes.
H would be the mayor's appointments of the council members to boards, committees, and commissions. I think Aaron sent out the sheet. A couple of things change. John Ortlieb to tourism and promotion. Dawn, our new alderperson, to PPP. And John Ortlieb, I believe, to public works.
Would you mind if I read all of them?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So for the Community Development Committee, we have Casey Boer and John Ortlieb. For the Protections of Persons and Property Committee, we have Scott Meverden, Casey Boer, and Dawn Kidd. For the Public Works Committee, we have Amy Johnson, John Ortlieb, and Wayne Schmidt. For the Parks and Recreation Committee, we have Kevin Schmidt and Amy Johnson. For the Redevelopment Authority, we have Wayne Schmidt and Scott Meverden. Board of Appeals requires no council representation. The Board of Review requires no council representation. The Housing Authority Board requires no council representation. The Library Board, Midge Swedberg. The Utility Commission, Midge Swedberg. The Tourism and Promotion Commission, Midge Swedberg. And the Planning Commission, the council appointed Amy Johnson earlier.
Thank you.
Sorry, Tourism and Promotion Commission, I apologize, should be John Ortlieb.
Okay. Like Mitch, get it on.
Any questions on any of those? I would be looking for a motion to approve those appointments.
So moved.
By Amy,
Second.
second by Mitch. Roll call?
Casey Boer,
Yes.
John Ortlieb,
Yes.
Kevin Schmidt,
Yes.
Dawn Kidd,
Yes.
Amy Johnson,
Yes.
Midge Swedberg,
Yes.
Scott Meverden,
Yes.
Wayne Schmidt.
Yes.
Then next would be the mayor's appointments for the citizen members to the boards, committees, and commissions. The only, I'll say it before Aaron gets to it, and then you can read if you want, but Jake Murray is on the board of review. Jake has opted to do other things, and so I reached out to Mark Grossbeyer, who has agreed to go on that board of review. Do you want me to list the changes, or you just want to go on?
I can go down the list if that's okay.
You bet.
Community Development Committee, how would you guys like to take this? Do you want to do one at a time and say, yes, we agree, or do we want to do it all, or have me read through them first?
Just read through them first.
Okay, Community Development Committee, Shannon Larson will serve a 3-year term. Protections of Persons and Property Committee, Lee Dashlet will serve a 3-year term. Public Works Committee, Kelly Cox will serve a 3-year term. Parks and Recreation Committee, Abby Peisler will serve a 3-year term. Redevelopment Authority, no one was up. Board of Appeals, Charles Hutter will serve a 3-year term. Board of Review, Joanne Smits will serve a 3-year term, and Mark Grossbeyer will fill the resignation of Jake Mehring till April 2027. Housing Authority Board, no one was up. Library Board, Linda Sherman, a 3-year term. Planning Commission, Ken Taylor, a 3-year term. Mary Kay Bennett, Utility Commission, 4-year term. Tourism and Promotion Commission, all single-year terms. Bob Davis, Jan Dard, Megan Lautenbach, Lee Hash, and a representative from the Chamber of Commerce.
I have a question.
Okay.
So Jake was taken off of Board of Review, but he's remaining on the Redevelopment Authority. Just checking.
Correct.
Okay, as long as you're doing what he asked.
I'm sorry, I missed that, so he might not stay there, but for
Oh.
today he is.
Okay. I'll move approval of the citizens to the committees, boards, and commissions. I second it.
Moved by Amy, second by Dawn. And a roll call for that, please.
Moved by Amy, second by Dawn for the mayor appointments to committees, boards, and commissions. Dawn Kidd,
Yes.
Midge Swedberg,
Yes.
Amy Johnson,
Yes.
John Ortlieb,
Yes.
Casey Boer,
Yes.
Kevin Schmidt,
Yes.
Wayne Schmidt,
Yes.
Scott Meverden.
Yes.
Thank you. And I would like to thank John Schmela and Jake Maring, who both opted to do other things for their service on those committees. And the next meeting would be Monday, May 5th, 5 o'clock. And I would look for a motion to adjourn this reorganizational meeting.
So, second.
Moved by Mitch, second by Casey, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Then I would start the Finance and Personnel Committee meeting of Tuesday, April 15th.
Give me just 1 second here.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, roll call, please.
Dawn Kidd,
Here.
Amy Johnson,
Here.
Casey Boer.
Here.
Wayne Schmidt.
Here.
Midge Swedberg.
Here.
Scott Meverden.
Here.
John Ortlieb.
Here.
Kevin Schmidt.
Here.
Thank you. Confirm the meeting in compliance with open meetings law.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. And I would look for a motion to approve or make changes to the order of the agenda.
Motion to approve.
By Casey,
I'll second.
second by, was that Amy? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Did everyone have a chance to read the meeting minutes of March 18th? And I would look for a motion to approve or discussion of that meeting.
So moved.
By Kevin, second by Midge. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The bills, did everyone have a chance to look at the bills? In any discussion? If not, I would look for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
By Casey,
Second.
by Scott. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Meverden.
Yes.
Kevin Schmidt.
Yes.
Dawn Kidd.
Yes.
Amy Johnson.
Yes.
Wayne Schmidt.
Yes.
Casey Boer.
Yes.
John Ortlieb.
Yes.
Midge Swedberg.
Yes.
Thank you. Is there anybody here tonight for public comment? One more time for public comment. Final call, seeing none. We'll move on to old business and the rescue building.
Yes, so just one thing to update right now, Friday, we are meeting myself, the fire chief, some of his staff from the fire department with a couple of the trades, the mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and fire protection, just to go over the final couple of details. We're hoping to nail that out in an hour or two Friday morning, and then I think we should be pretty much ready to go to get this out to bid. Step by step, we're getting there. So that's all I have to update at this time for everybody on that.
Want to jump right on the administration building?
Administration building, Jim has delivered his promise that he would get us a price in 7 days. I did receive that price. There's a couple of details that I need to work through with him that we will be going through over the next couple of days, but I will have this on session for the May 5th meeting to kind of roll that plan out in front of everybody. So just gonna kind of get some things broken down and so I can answer some of the questions. I'm hoping to have that early part of next week. And like I said, May 5th, we will have that in front of the council for their review.
Any questions on either one of them for Matt? If not, we'll move on to new business. The police department computers. Chief, would you like to address that?
The computers that the police department has, do not or will not be able to upgrade to the new Windows 11. The computers we have will only go to Windows 10. Microsoft is going to stop supporting Windows 10 in October, and was looking at pricing and got bids from a couple of companies. I also put it through Quantum. They're asked what their opinions were on what to get, and they came back and said to go with the Panasonic computers. And with everything that's been going on with tariffs and everything, that they advised that they gave us a quote, and they said that they would hold that for 90 days or, even if the tariffs take effect. And, so just looking to replace the laptops, and which we would need to do the 3 docking stations in the police vehicles, and then we would be getting docking stations for the desktops, and we will not be having desktop computers for every officer having desktop computers anymore.
Thank you. Any questions for the chief?
Can I ask?
Well, I suppose. So right now, because of COVID money, all the officers have their own desktops, correct? At the time we got money for this. Now they want to replace the desktops and go to tough books like I have, which is great, that's a great idea. So then that'll go from the squad to the downstairs for them to do their stuff.
Correct.
Great idea. Do we need a tough book for each officer versus having one for each squad, which would be one for each Durango, one for yourself, and one for your Ford, which could be your spare? Would we get away with 4 and save 11,000, because can't they share the computers like they share the squads? We don't each give them a squad. They're not counting where they have their own squad, where I have a squad, I have a computer, it's a package deal. Can't they share computers? They can have separate logins.
Right, and it's, I guess, my understanding that, when, you have to maintain, for open records and, stuff like that, that these computers need to be able to be, I guess, when an officer leaves, that, everything that they've done, their emails, all that stuff on these computers needs to be saved for like 50 years per state statute.
Okay, which you
And-
could log in separately.
So,
Like if you and I work together and we shared a computer, I can go under my login, Kay Schmidt, you can go under your login, Chief Allen. I can't access your stuff, you can't access mine. Everything can be downloaded to the server, keep your records, correct?
so. I guess, yes, it can be. I guess I'm just, haven't been where, you know, we had a server and stuff like that, so I guess I'm not. I've always been, throughout my careers, just every officer's always had their own computer.
See, and we have ours, but when when a person retires, they don't like take the stuff from that person and put it to the next person, you just get the car with the computer.
Yes, and
Kiwanee
it's-
City doesn't have seven laptops, they have one in each squad, and then they got 2 desktops that they all share.
right.
Why do we need so many?
Well, it's, one of the issues that we're having right now, I can tell you with our new officer, that when he went to log in to his computer, for the first time, he couldn't log into anything, and it's because it opened up and, as an administrator, it was checked out to Ann. It was also checked out to, Goldbrand, and when trying to get him to log in, the Temple also showed up, so there's been like 4 officers that have used that computer, and, Quantum had to go through and reconfigure it and stuff like that to get it where he can get into it, and it's just, to me, it's just cleaner for everybody to have their own computer.
But all the software, everybody has their own logins, like Trax and
Correct.
Spillman, and my login's different for the sheriff's department than it is for City of Kiwanee, so. Quantum can't get these set up right from square one, maybe these old ones weren't set up, I don't know. We really don't have a computer person before Quantum.
Right? Well, I'm just replacing what they've had now. They had 14, or they all have their own desktop and then their own, laptop. And all I'm doing is get rid of the desktops on them and, just tell them that they got the one computer. So I'm just replacing half of what they had, so.
Well, I get that, but we have two computers at the office for 10 guys to share, so 5 on each computer. And then we have our tough books. And we share our desktops, how come we can't share here? I guess that would be a Quantum question.
Could be, again, we're still gonna have 2 desktops as well, but we're having one that handles all of the videos for,
For your watch
Cameras
guard.
and
Yeah, you're gonna
everything
have a
else.
watch guard.
and then the desktop on mine, which I can access
Right.
and store everything. So
And you should have your own desktop because you're the chief. That's private information. They don't need to get in your stuff. I get that. Oh, that's the questions I have.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead, Wayne.
What do the part-time people use?
they have a part-time computer that the 3 of them use.
So what happens when a part-time person leaves? What happens to that information that's on that computer?
That it's remaining on that computer.
So you're telling me the part-time can share a computer, but the full-time can't?
Yes, but they're part-time, it's not being used. However, 6 days in a row, for the entire year that, it's getting used maybe once, or twice every month.
And how much of a savings it was there if you only bought 4? I didn't catch that.
11,697 with the computers and all the different docking things.
What's the advantage of having the 5 of you for everybody having one?
That they have them, they stay with them. They're, that's their computer. It's,
Say if 2 people are riding together and one's computer is going haywire, the other one can use his. Where if you only have one, you can't do that, right?
correct.
Well, what is open records? Is it the reports that are in Spillman or the evidence?
It's everything.
That's all that's in Spillman though. And Spillman would have.
No, it's not, it's emails, it's the browsing history. It's everything that you use that computer for.
The browsing history.
Yeah. When you're going online and you're looking at, you think that they find you child porn.
Yep.
That leaves a trail for everybody that's
Well, I
on there.
understand that, but don't we have servers that we could download that they connect to? Once they connect to a server, that stuff should all, what happens if they lose everything on that laptop? Then it's gone, they have no backup for these?
I am not the computer expert, that's why I sent it to Daycom. But like I said, I'm going off of through my entire career, that everybody's always had their own computer. That here everybody's having their own computer, but they're not having desktops on it. So, I mean, that's why, I'm asking for it.
Well, I do the same thing, but my email is on a server, all our emails are on a server, so that's guaranteed forever. Spillman's on the server, so that's all my reports and everything I do, my evidence, I have evidence somewhere on Spillman. Pictures and all of that should be on Spillman's server. I guess what else would we need except for?
We do have it all uploaded, it all uploads to our server, it does,
So if
whether it's a laptop or a desktop.
So once it goes in that docking station, it's gonna upload how many times, wherever it does.
I don't know at what point it does, transfer data up to the server, that I don't know exactly, but yes, it all does go up to the server.
I just don't understand why we all need computers, but then we should give them squads then too, if that's what it is.
But if one person is investigating something,
I do the same thing in my car.
Well, is there an advantage to having?
I'm not spending $3,800 for 3 more computers, that's
No,
$10,000.
I get the point that you're saying as far as why you don't wanna have the extra computers now, because you wanna save that $11,000.
I could use that for other equipment.
Right, no, it's important, but this is what we do, we talk about this much for a long time, and then we talk about this much for a little time, it's a regular thing. Now, I'm asking, do you see any advantage to having your own? Any opportunity where there's a crossover and shift, right?
I don't
That
see any advantage in the city police department where they're not the take-home squad. They go to the office to do their reports, they can take that laptop, they can share it. I don't know why we would need to can't be shared. They don't have take-home squads, they don't respond from their house like I do, that they would need the laptop right away as soon as they call on to know where to go to a call. They all come here every day and set their computer in their car, they get their uniform, finish whatever they get on, you know, your radios and all that. They don't walk out of their house ready to go like I do. They come here and sometimes they leave some of their stuff here. I don't understand why we need to buy 7. We don't have COVID money. We could start out with 4, and if they can say, oh, this is the reason we each need more, we could readdress next year. That's my thinking on it. But we can vote, I don't care, you guys can vote the way you want.
No, I mean, it's a more reasonable explanation than is if we're gonna have them all have one, we should all get cars. Like that, I mean, that makes more sense, what you're saying, and I can understand that it's a more articulate kind of point to make there.
Can I ask a question, Chief? You said you're not the computer guy, neither am I, so you probably can't answer this. But I noticed that we had to upgrade to 32 gigabytes of RAM
Yeah,
for one
that's what they-
person to have one computer. So if they share the computer, does that change? Would you have to have a bigger upgrade that would cost us more money?
That I don't know, because I asked the,
I don't
what
either,
their
that's why.
specs for what we're doing. what they
I guess my
don't.
point is we wouldn't
Right.
save the whole $11,000.
I don't believe we would have to.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
RAM is like the motor running your computer, so
I kinda know
sharing
what it is, but I
really
know enough
doesn't-
to get me in
yeah.
trouble, so that's it.
Isn't that how much you save on it? If they're both saving things on it, wouldn't that fill up faster?
And I don't understand how the reports go, if they upload to whatever tab works.
RAM is memory, right? RAM isn't storage, RAM is
Hard drive.
the processing and kind of oomph.
RAM is your speed,
That it-
right?
Well,
Yes.
what, everything that we run, that one thing, it makes it faster, that you're not sitting there waiting like on dial-up or whatever. It has nothing to do with that, but it's just,
Okay.
it's a lot faster, so.
So I'm on the other side of the storage thing.
Storage would be
I got
your
it.
hard drive, your
I got
internal
it, yep.
hard drive.
This is something that was discussed early at the TPP meeting, and as unfortunate as it is, we should have probably bought some of them last year, but we didn't. And we're dealing with the same thing in private industry at work, where we're, the last 2 years, we're spending tens of thousands of dollars in each facility upgrading computers because of, it's out of our control. With the updates that are coming later October, the recommendation from the committee was to move forward. We do have $25,000 that was discussed, that is set aside, that would cover obviously the lion's share of this. But that's, I'd be happy to try and answer more questions, but that was the recommendation.
I do have something else, though. I did call, there was a question that was asked about like the docking stations for the vehicles, if their price included installation of those or not. And so I had called them and was talking with them, and they did not, include installation of the docking stations, but he also said that, it's essentially just 4 bolts. It uses everything that's the same, so it's just plug and play, that it would be a really easy fix just for us. And then I asked him about the power supply. I said, is it a separate inverter, plug that is different with this? He goes, no, it's the exact same one. He says, I just put it on there, because if you wanted to put new cords, because they've been in there for however many years. I said, so we don't need that. He goes, no, you don't need those. And so it actually would not take the vehicle power supplies. It's not a lot, but it's still dropping at $459. Which would be at $29,453.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Scott mentioned that there's $25,000 set aside for these. Where is that money?
That's the cable thing that we
But
allocated
it's not
towards the
set
supply
aside for
cars.
the computers.
Correct.
It's set aside for police department equipment reserve and replacement.
That could be used for that, yes.
But there's $18,000 in the 2025 capital budget for computers. For the police department. Not 30. So when we talked about the capital budget back in like October, September, November, that time frame, we talked about replacing 3 computers and docking stations for squads at a total of $18,000.
So how much there's really none set aside for this then?
Well, there's 18.
I mean, there's money in there, but
We
it's
plan on
just,
spending $18,000 this year on computers for this purpose.
So you have 18,000, which could get you 4.
Potentially.
earmarked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason we did that and the reason we took what was left in the cable equipment reserve and replacement
Card.
is intended to be used for squad cars, so that we can kind of build this up, and then when we need to purchase a squad car, we would have enough money sitting there. If we're gonna take $30,000 out of there this year to do this, intention is that we're replacing one squad car next year based on this capital plan. I think we would be pretty tight, and then we would deplete our balance to 0, by the time we purchase that squad car. And then when we need another one in 2 years, we're gonna be back in the same situation when there's not enough money to buy a squad car.
And a squad car costs like what, 45,000?
Not once you outfit it, we have,
Audi's about 11 grand, that's what they're doing at my Durango. You're moving stuff over.
We're using the price in the capital budget on what our last 2 purchases were,
Okay.
because, Jamie, what was that?
we're estimating for 2026, 71,000.
Okay.
Because we haven't gotten anything outfitted recently for $11,000, it's been closer to 16 to 20.
See, now I'm getting a new Durango and my stuff is 11,000. But they're moving some of my stuff over, my radio side.
And I would rather plan for the worst, Kevin, that would be our intent, but all of a sudden they changed the Durango from one year to another and something moves 4 inches. Now the cage isn't good or the light bar, and then you start to rack all these expenses on. So we're estimating for the worst case scenario, hoping that we can roll everything over into a new squad.
So we have a ways to get to that 70, you're saying, for the next squad, we only have 25,000.
No, we have there, as of the end of March, there's $81,000 in there. If you would spend 30 now, you're going to drop down to 50. There is money set aside in the budget to, fund that again for 2025. I don't know the number off the top of my head. But we would be, I think, if we were to spend $30,000 now, we would essentially be pretty close to depleting it next year after buying a squad, I think.
Now, what's that Ford squad, what are we doing with that? Do we have that Ford squad, do we run that? Is that an extra?
We have that, yes.
Jamie.
Wayne, do you have a question?
Yeah, I guess when I was listening here, Jamie, was there something in outlay for computers for this year? Capital outlay?
18,000.
How much?
18,000.
And that was for what,
18.
4?
Well, we had estimated 3 with docking stations at that point.
Okay, so when the budget was put together, evidently they were satisfied with buying 3 at that time, correct? When we did capital outlay, so we
I
approved?
don't know that I'll say they were satisfied with 3. The administrator kind of knocked that down.
At that point, Wayne, we didn't know that this was gonna expire. We were trying to plan on getting them off, buying all of these at the same time, and let's buy a couple of them, and then look at next year chiseling away at a couple more. We didn't know that this software in October was gonna come out of date.
So, Matt, are you saying we could purchase 4 now and look at the other 3 at a later time?
I think we could, and I don't wanna speak for the chief, me and the chief have talked in great length about this. We could purchase 4 right now and look down the road, but knowing come October, we have a good chance of those other ones not working at all. We would have just 4 then at that time.
But
If this software isn't any longer supported.
you could get by with 4 if you needed to.
Chief, I'm gonna let you answer that question.
I didn't catch that.
No, he's asking me if we could get by with 4, I guess. If you only approve 1, we'd have to get by with 1. So, yeah, we could get by with 4. Biggest thing is, and I'll take the blame for it for not buying some last year. That was the initial plan, and then we got out of last year, and so we had planned on splitting it up, so,
How much, I have a question, how much would it cost for 5? I'm worried about prices jumping, and next year we're looking at an astronomical amount for just 3 computers, if we went with 5 versus 7. I know it's not the huge savings that Kevin had done, but it would just be a little more of a cushion.
Would save about $7,500.
About $21,500.
Okay.
I guess if you wanna get 5, you might as well get 7, because then that means everybody's gonna have one, which I don't agree with, but if that's what the council wants to do, then let's give them 7 and be done with it, and I'll just agree to disagree. Because that makes no sense, because if you gotta have them, if we gotta have 7, which like I said, I still don't think you do,
Why doesn't 5 make sense, Kevin?
but then the other 2 they're not gonna share, then you're gonna share a couple, but he said you can't share them. How come we can share 5, but we can't share 4? He's telling me they can't share, that's why we need 7. Well, now we're sharing if we only buy 5. So that's what then let's just buy 7. You can't share. You can't share, you share, you can't. That's just how it is. With open records and all that, I don't know, I'd have to talk to my computer guy from the county and see, because my computer doesn't download. When I get a new squad, I get a new computer, and he loads it up again, we start over. But everything else is in servers, emails, fill-ins, and all that, so, like they have.
Are the computers from China?
We're Panasonic, I would assume so, Japan.
I'm asking because of the tariffs, yeah, because right now, China's about the biggest one with tariffs. If it's from China, who knows how long those tariffs are gonna last? If it's from somewhere else, it might go down next year, who knows? Because tariffs are being negotiated, the rest of them.
No, they would be Japan.
Japan?
Japan? Okay.
Any more discussion on this one? We're looking for a motion to either move forward or change the number.
I'll make a motion to move forward as it's been presented.
Second.
Motion by Scott to buy all 7, and second by Casey. Roll call.
Ortlieb,
No.
Kevin Schmidt,
No.
Swedberg,
No.
Orr,
Yes.
Kidd,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Wayne Schmidt,
No,
Meverden,
Yes.
Mayor.
I will vote yes. The next thing, CDC grant application request from the Kewaunee County Economic Development Corporation. Casey, you want to on that, or you want?
Well, I don't know how are we gonna have him up?
If he
Ben?
wants to, or, but I'll let you.
Okay, yeah, so Ben had come in last month, requesting $5,000 for Kewaunee County Economic Development Corporation. Mayor, you were there. I thought he did a tremendous job of kind of outlaying some of the future considerations. There's certain things like, and I'll point to, we talked about the bounce back grant, and that, I think that's been an issue. Like, we've been residing on this for all these years, that this is what they've done, but he put a finer point on it, and when they had initiated the bounce back grant, this is a question of how does it directly benefit the city? And in that particular one, it was, of all the counties, it was 35% of all the counties came to Kewaunee County, and 70% of that came to the city of Algoma, correct? To the tune of like $880,000. And not that like the $5,000 is a tit for tat investment for money coming out, but that like a residual, there's a very evident residual thing. And that's just a drop in the bucket for some of the stuff that they're working on. Project Homestead they're working on. He alluded to some businesses that they're working to potentially come to or expand in Algoma. Some of that, there's confidentiality considerations. But I thought he had detailed a pretty well detailed plan for how they're going forward, and it was a recommendation from the CDC to fund that $5,000. I don't know, if there's questions, I mean, Ben can answer them better. If there's things that you wanna round out or whatever, I feel free.
Yeah, I will say that we had a meeting with Ben after that, pretty productive meeting, I think. Got some stuff out in the open, aired out some grievances, maybe if you wanna call them that. And I thought it was a very productive meeting, with a positive outlook for the KCEDC.
So Casey, Algoma gives 5,
Right.
Kiwanee gives 3.
I don't know, the numbers of the other municipalities.
Luxembourg
We
gives
don't
2.
have those yet for this year. Kiwanee does anywhere from 2 to 4. Luxembourg does around 2. It varies by year and by who's in charge.
And then Kiwanee County gives the rest then.
Sorry,
The county itself gives the rest.
yeah, the county's investment annually is 40,000.
And then there's some private.
Private sector investors as well, in grant dollars.
How much was Kiwanee? I didn't catch that.
Anywhere between 2 and 4, Wayne, depending, they've been as high as 4, as low as 2.
They like change every year,
I'm gonna let that answer.
right?
Sort of.
Last year that they were at 2, the year prior, I believe they were at 4, so it just depends on where they are in their budget cycle. I know, I haven't spoken to them about this year yet, but I do know the last conversation I had with them is they were looking to increase that.
Their budget has $4,000 in it, I don't know if that's what they're doing or not.
Any other conversation? Wayne, do you have anything else?
Do we have 5,000 in there?
Yes, that's in the CDC budget.
How much do we have left after we take the 5,000 out?
Of the total CDC budget,
Yeah,
are you asking?
how much you have left?
Well, I mean, it was, that 5,000 was taken, it used to be a line item, right? So that the total CDC budget as far as our grant awards is something like 13.5 or 12.5. This year, or in the past years, we had $3,000 as a general grant, and then we had the remaining that were line itemed. During the budget process, the KCEDC portion was removed and put into the general, so we had $8,000 for the general, and we still have $3,000 after this. If we award this, we'll still have the $3,000 remaining in the CDC budget.
Okay, thanks.
I mean, for the general, and there are other things that are still allocated. Bird City came and we've done that. I know Concerton Park is coming still. The movie that the library does, they'll come in later this year. Those things are all allocated, are all line items, but as far as things that aren't specifically marked for a particular thing, $3,000 remains.
Oh, and then the other thing, Matt, a question for you. Are you pretty involved with some of the things that Casey was talking about that could happen in the future as far as development, new businesses?
I think so now, Wayne, that is the meeting that the mayor alluded to a little bit, where we talked now and came up with a game plan of moving forward, how we are going to address some of these things moving forward, that I would say haven't been or weren't, no fault to Ben. I think moving forward, we have a lot better understanding.
So then is it your recommendation that we give them the 5,000 based on your conversations?
At this point, yes, I would be okay with it.
Okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion for the 5,000.
Second.
Motion by Kevin and second by John. You wanna roll call that one maybe?
John Kidd,
Yes.
John Ortlieb,
Yes.
Casey Boer,
Yes,
Amy Johnson,
Yes.
Wayne Schmidt,
Yes.
Midge Sledberg,
Yes.
Scott Meverden,
Yes.
Kevin Schmidt.
Yes.
Did you say yes or pass?
Pass. I don't know.
Pass?
Pass.
So, okay, abstain then?
Stay.
Abstain, okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, one more, yeah.
All right, any agenda items for the next meeting? Karen, Jamie, or Matt, our next meeting would be May 20th at 5 p.m. And now we'd be looking for a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 19.85, Section 1, subsection E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties investing in public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. And this would be at local 1515 Sunset Avenue.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Scott, second by John. Roll call, please.
Johnson,
Yes.
Kidd,
Yes.
Queen Schmidt,
Yes.
Kevin Schmidt,
Yes.
Meverden,
Yes.
Swedberg,
Yes.
Four,
Yes.
Ortlieb.
Yes.
Wayne, I'm going to end the live streaming. If I lose you, I'll like dial the Zoom back in for you.
Okay. Good. Thanks again for setting us up.